So I'm currently reading 63 series. At least according to my reading spreadsheet. It's not actually that bad, but it also kind of is that bad. So today we're gonna go through all of the series that I am currently reading. As I'm filming this, it is the middle of May. Hopefully by the time this video is uploaded, I will have completed a few more series, but at this point, probably not. I'm more likely to add new series than I am to complete them. Let me show you what my reading spreadsheet looks like, and we're gonna go through all of the series in this list. Okay, we are now inside my reading spreadsheet, and this is my series tracker sheet. In here, I keep track of every series that I'm reading, as well as series that are on my horizon, as well as series that I want to reread. So when I said 63 series, I really meant all of those together. You see there's 63 down there, which is where I got that number from. But as you can see, my spreadsheet calculates that I'm currently only reading 49. But you're gonna see it's not really that, but it also kind of is that. So this number is calculated based off of how many of these are unchecked, aka how many of these series I am not up to date on. Within this reading spreadsheet, you will see I have author name, the series, whether it's an ongoing or completed series, how many books are in that series, how many I have read of that number, and it will calculate then how many I have unread. It will then calculate my percentage read of that series and auto-populate a graph for me to see. And then if I click up to date, you'll notice right up here how that number will go down. Now it's at 48, but nope. And then over here, I have each of the individual books. And you will notice up top, I do have a little bit of key, so I color coordinate based off of what year I read it in. If it's italicized, that means I reread it again. If it's underlined, it means I own it. And if it's in this gray color, it means it is not yet released. Which means if, for example, I have a book, oops, see, this came out yesterday, so now I have to change it. Uh-oh, so that means we are now not up to date on that series. That's okay. But for example, here we go. This series, I am technically up to date, even though the next book is not out yet. So there's a lot going on inside of this, but things are calculated for me, and I also added some additional color coordinating just so I can kind of mentally narrow it down a little bit. But up here at the very top left, this number of books in series is calculating the grand total of all of these numbers. Books read is calculating all of these numbers, and books to read is calculating all of these unread books. So according to the spreadsheet, I currently have 308 books I need to read to be fully up to date on these 50 series. Yeah, it's a lot. So we're gonna go through, first of all, we're going to go through based off of these colors, because I think it's going to be a little bit easier rather than me going through line by line by line. And that way I can kind of group things together. So our first category up here is will require rereading. And these are going to be series that I either completed back in the day or I started a long time ago. And there's either new books out or the series is finally finished and I just don't remember what happened in the first books. Or I just really want to reread them. And so all of Rick Riordan's stuff is going under this blue category for will require rereading because although I have read most of his work, there are new series that the last time I reread everything, he's written books since then that I never got to. So any of the Trials of Apollo, I never got to them. I didn't finish Magnus Chase, and any of his new work I never read, including the newest Percy Jackson books, so when he goes off to college. I put them up here because they're technically like Percy's story. So although the 5 books of Percy Jackson and the Olympians I have of course read and reread a million times, I technically count that there's 10 books in this series. So this alone attributes to 6 of the series, and with the 2nd season of Percy Jackson coming out, it was just announced today that it's coming out in December. I intend to do my Rick Riordan reread and try to read absolutely everything. Looking at it though, 34 books, that's gonna be a lot, but I think I'm gonna do it this year because, you know, these series I never actually got to. So although I say I've only read 80% and I'm not up to date with any of them. It's not as bad as it looks. And that's what I mean. Like, it's not as bad as it looks, even though I will be rereading all of these. Next up on the will require rereadings, we have Stephanie Garber's Caraval series. I read them years ago. I need to reread the Caraval series and the first two Once Upon a Broken Heart series because I never read Spectacular or The Curse for True Love. And because I need to reread them. See, look, this colorful thing means I read them in 2022. So I need to reread them so I understand Spectacular and A Curse for True Love. The same thing for the Kingdom of the Wicked, but I'm not going to do that soon because I need to reread the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy so I can then read The Throne of Fallen and The Throne of Secrets. But I think I'm going to wait until she gets a few more of those books out. So that's not something I have on my radar right now. The Shadows Between Us, a long time ago, or I guess 2023, feels like a long time ago, I read the first book and I never got to the second book. Daughter of the Pirate King, I read the first two books and I never got to the third one. The Bridge Kingdom, this series is still coming out. Every time Inadequate Air, The Endless War came out, I would reread the books before it, and so I just got the fifth book, The Twisted Throne, but at this point, I think I'm going to wait for her to publish her last book before I go through and reread them all. So again, that's not on my radar. Crescent City. I am currently in a SJM Mazverse reread with my cousin. She's reading them for the first time. So I'm actually rereading all of Throne of Glass right now. And I reread ACOTAR last year. But I never got to House of Flame and Shadow because by the time I got to that point in the reread, I was exhausted. And so I never read it. But I remember nothing. So by the time I get to that, I will have to reread Crescent City. Shatter Me, I got exactly 2 books in 2022 before I was like, I can't handle it anymore. And so I need to go back and give it another try to continue it because I want to get to the point where Aaron Warner becomes the love interest. The Mirror Visitor is tragic because I read the first 3 books and then I gave up. So I never got to the 4th one. I feel like a reread is going to be much easier than the first read, so I need to give that one another try. A Lady's Guide, there are 2 books out right now, I think. I read the first one a while ago and never got to the second, even though I own them both. The Countess of Harley Mystery, this is one of the ones where I got to the first book and I was like, oh my god, this is so much fun. And then I never continued, even though there are a ton of books out. And I don't remember that first book at all. The Forest of Good and Evil, I read this so long ago and I loved it. And then I just forgot to look for a book 2. James Bond is one of those series where I was like, I'm going to read all of them and watch all the movies. And I got through the first 4 and then I gave up because there were so many. I would like to get to that eventually. It is just so far in my future. So this is what I mean, where these books, like these series, I am not going to read these for months, if not years, but it's still an unread series in my mind because I want to make sure I go back to it. That's why it's in this spreadsheet. Those are all the books that are going to need reread. So we're going to go back up to the top. And when I say a ton of new books, this means series that I haven't even started yet, but they're on my radar. For example, all of Sabrina Jeffrey's series are on my radar, and I haven't started them because I'm going through her entire backlist. So she has written dozens of books, and I have read all of them up until these 4 series. And this one is still ongoing. It's the one she's currently writing, because Regency romance authors love to have everything in the same series. So these are the ones I've gotten up to this part. So I haven't started these, but they're on my radar. This just means that there are a ton of books in my future. So to finish with Sabrina Jeffries, I have 23 of her books left. Pretty much the same thing with Ruby Dixon. She has written dozens upon dozens of books, and I'm so far into the Rubyverse of her books. She writes a ton of alien romances that, like, I cannot stop. She has, as the point of me updating, it's 94 books that she's written, and I can guarantee you there's actually more than that she's written in the time that I put these in, even though I try to update it as much as possible. And at this point, I have read 54 of her books. So at this point, I only have 40 left to go. So far, there will be more by then, but I want to finish them. So you see, she has some ongoing series still in here. I will catch up one day. The same thing for Agatha Christie. Thankfully, she is, well, not thankfully, that's very sad of me to say, but I'm just going to say thankfully there's no more books coming out because there are a million of them, 101, and I've only read 1. I think this is going to be a slow over lifelong reading because I'm not a huge mystery reader. But her stuff is just so peak the genre, such a like voyager that I literally have to. So even though it is technically 3 series of 101 books, it's going to be on here forever. Outlander, I haven't started it yet, but it is one of those series that I so very desperately want to read, even though there are 22 books. Look how far this section goes. It's ridiculous. 22 books in that series. And it's still going. It's still ongoing. Christmas Escape is various authors for Christmas books, so I will get to this in the Christmas time. So actually, that is in the wrong color. That needs to be this color. We'll come back to that. The Mercy, all the Patricia Briggs books, the Mercy Thompson and the Alpha and Omega series, a ton of books here, 23, and I only read the first one, but for some reason that was enough for me to commit to the rest of them. And Gale Song, it is an ongoing series. I've read 1 of the 7 out so far, but I want to continue it, so yes, lots of series on the future. Now this yellow means it's within reach. These are the ones that I want to target right now. You know, each month I pick a continuous series for my monthly TBR, and these are the ones that I'm looking at. So Sisters of the Salt, even though these are not like series, House of Roots and Ruin technically takes place after House of Salt and Sorrow, and yet I've never read it for some reason. It's literally just 1 book and I can check this whole universe off right now. The Rizdaverse is, I have 1 left to go in this series of 17. Why haven't I picked it up yet? I don't know, but it's almost there. Tomes and Tea, I'm hoping to finish out real soon. There are 4 books in the series. The last one comes out later this year. I have 2 that I'm really hoping to read this month, so I can get this one checked off. The Singing Hill cycle, I am hoping that today I am going to finish out the books that are currently published. There will be 3 more, but that's okay. I really adore this series. As a subsect of Within Reach, I actually have these books down here, in which there's only a couple more to go. So the Winter Night trilogy, I only have 2 more books in here. The Terran Soul, I only have 4 more books. The Ascendant series, I only have 4 more books. Mercy Thompson series, 14. This is in the wrong color. Yeah, actually, I think I said it earlier. This is actually more books, many more books. What color is that? Green. You need to be green. What are you doing here? Yeah, no. But the Wrath of the Dawn is a correct color because there's only 4 more to go. Now, the last ones that I have highlighted are ones that I want to read seasonally. So the X-Hex and the Witches of Thistlegrove, I want to read in the fall. Rose Hill, I did want to get to this summer. These Christmas books, I wanted to get to over the winter. So those are all the ones that I want to get to seasonal, so they're not on my radar right now. And all of the unhighlighted ones, all these white things, are actually the ones that I am good on, except not anymore. This one is now, this one needs to be within reach. So this one needs to be highlighted yellow. So never mind on that one. Like, I finished ACOTAR, I finished Throne of Glass, I finished Ice Planet Barbarians, I finished Ice Home, I finished the Royal Artifactual Guild, for now. I have finished all of Lila Sagesburg's and 2 of the 3 series from Elsie Silver. I am up to date on Jessica Peterson. I'm up to date on the Luminaries. I finished that series. I'm up to date on the Cosmic Chaos. I'm up to date on the Rose Bargain. It's apparently a duology, but I know nothing about the second book. I'm up to date on Natalia Hernandez's new series, and I'm up to date on the McBrides of Montana. So all of these I have checked off. So when you put them all together, yes, it is a lot of books on my radar, but it's not like I'm trying to attempt to read all 63 series right now. At most, let's see how many I'm trying to read right now, right? Because I'm not reading those. This is not really on my radar right now because I'm not in the mood. I'm not reading any of these anytime soon. Let's say, yeah, I want to read this soon. Yeah, I want to read this soon. That's not really on my radar right now. That's not on my radar right now. No, I'm not rereading those. I am currently reading these. None of these, I'm not in the mood. This one, probably soon. None of these are on my radar right now. Maybe 1 or 2, but not really. So, like, currently 5. But again, every day I'm adding new series to this. So it's very dramatic of me to say I'm reading 63 series, even though I am. It doesn't feel like that. But it is also wildly out of control, and I need to get these series checked off. which is again why I have it as one of my 5 categories for my TBR each month. So please let me know if this is normal. And what I mean by that is, do you track the series that you're currently reading? Do you track it using a spreadsheet or a list, or just physically? What do you do? What are you in the middle of reading? Are any of these on your radar? Did I just add a ton of books to your TBR? If you like my spreadsheet, I do have a ton of videos in here in which I do, you know, my monthly wrap-ups. I do some tours, like big tours, and also smaller tours like this. If you like this spreadsheet and you want to use it, I do have a free version in the description below from last year, and I also have a $5 version of this year, and that includes my series tracker. So if you would like to find a nice way to support me and also get access to this really cool spreadsheet that you can use yourself, please look in the description below. And yeah, I clearly put too many hours into this thing, but I love it a lot and it makes me happy to check things off. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.